there's a topic that in our society is probably the ultimate taboo, and that topic is death, and more precisely the implication of us as creaturely beings, as creatures, that despite all of our intellectual power and ability to self-reflect, ultimately will die and return to the earth. And being outside, it really brings you back to this fundamental and inescapable idea that is kind of suppressed right to the bottom of the kind of unthinkable thoughts in our society. So just by being around natural processes, decaying plant matter, insects that are breaking down leaf matter and plants and stems and flowers, seeing small creatures, sometimes seeing dead animals, mice and birds. There's something about merely being around that in quiet solitude, which almost by process of osmosis kind of brings you back to this grounded idea that you too are a creature, and despite all of your worries and all of your concerns and all of your successes and all of your efforts, you're also just the same as an ant or some little bug or mouse, in that you'll also return to the earth one way or another. And that idea of being creaturely in nature, it's a very challenging idea and a very uncomfortable idea. And there's a very interesting book which is kind of anchored on that idea as the kind of central premise of the central device of the book. I can't remember the title off the top of my head, but it's written by a surgeon who, like many surgeons, has seen many people die. And for people that are not in the medical profession or death professions, it's unusual to see lots of people die. So in my own lifetime, not that I'm in a special case, probably seen, maybe your grandparents, touch wood, and maybe one or two other instances of death. Say you pass a road traffic accident, and you come back later in the day and the police are still there and the scene has a screen around it, and you know that it's very serious and that person probably hasn't survived. But pretty much for the rest of our day-to-day business, we kind of forget this idea that there's a memento mori. Our time is limited on this earth. And I know that there will be some kind of digital fanatic that wants to upload their consciousness onto some decentralized architecture, but that's just a whole kind of vortex of strange ideas that I don't want to get swirled around into. So I'm trying to hold at the back of my mind this idea that I am too a creature, and that matters. And there's a sort of pervasive triviality to death and our nature. So you see that quite a lot with another taboo topic, cancer. So what do we have now? We have every other week there'll be some kind of fun run to smash cancer, and there'll be scores of middle-aged mostly women or young women and their kind of harried husbands who've come along to do the fun run in a pink t-shirt, or a t-shirt with the outline of some breasts on, or some other kind of quirky, fun kind of graphic design agency device, and everybody's pretending that, you know, you have to have this kind of fun, upbeat approach, and, you know, the only thing you can do is to battle and fight, you know, and win, and nobody will stop until cancer is defeated. And I think there's something very wrong with that whole paradigm, and perhaps even dishonest, which is all of us will die, and there's a fair chance that it might not be the death that we want. It might be a kind of drawn out kind of process of ever decreasing circles of medical intervention in a hospital with people who are foreign to us, and our last moments will be in a strange environment under fluorescent lighting and kind of impersonal clothing, and surrounded with almost banal objects with no meaning to us. And that is not a prospect that I think is encouraging at all, or fun, or something that we should kind of ignore. It's something very serious, and older cultures would have understood this, the importance of a good death. And that is completely different from the will to extend life, which seems to have become a kind of the purpose, let's say, of the modern healthcare system, kind of life extension over life quality. And perhaps that's actually not correct, and somebody who works, for instance, in the NHS, in palliative care or something, would have a much better view of this. But yeah, we are creatures, and being in the landscape is a very quiet way to really just bring this home and remind us of our creaturely nature.